bore for us. In perfect selflessness, he humbled himself, came down from heaven, was born of a man, lived a sinless life, and died on the cross for us. And despite having it all, he regarded two things more important than any comfort and any glory that he could have had. Number one, he knew we needed forgiveness of sins and we needed to be reconciled to God. And number two, he thought of the will of the Father. And those two things he regarded higher than his own glory. This is the most selfless act ever committed by anyone throughout the history of mankind. Think about the type of people Jesus died for. He died for people who hated him, who spat on him, people who basically beat him and mocked him. He died for even people today running around here worshiping other gods and calling themselves atheists. Now, it's up to us if we choose him, but he still died for all of these people regardless. And he's still selfless. He's sitting at the right hand of the Father right now interceding for us. So that was point one. Jesus selflessly sacrificed himself for us. Amen. Point number two, we must strive to live a life of selflessness. As believers, we must be a reflection of Jesus. There's no greater example of selflessness. Loving others as ourselves is the second greatest commandment. Matthew 22 through 36 through 40 says, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second one is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Selflessness results in sacrificing for others, loving other people. It results in forgiving people and making peace with other people. And even praying for people in your brokenness. Yes. How hard is that to do when you're in pain and you're praying for somebody else in your brokenness? But it's in those hard places where our growth and development takes place. And God sees all of that. Amen. He sees that. And the best example of a human that I can think of when I think of selflessness is my father. He had a rough life. He was one of 9 children. They were so poor. His father was an alcoholic, and he was never around. And he went to school. They never had enough lunch for all the children. So my dad would hide behind the building, and he actually developed a nickname. They called him Hungry. They did. They called him Hungry. That was his nickname. He would hide behind the school so nobody would know. And he decided in the 8th grade he was going to go and become an engineer, so he would never have to worry about money and all of that. And that's exactly what he did. He became a civil engineer. He was successful. He went on, graduated in 1965, worked for the Corps of Engineers, first black engineer there. And he went to that job and he received so much abuse. Think about late 60s, he's coming out as the first black engineer. So he went down there. People set his car on fire. They didn't shake his hand. They talked about him and all that. And he came home, we were babies, but my mom told us plenty of times about this story. He came home, he was crying. And she said, why don't you leave that job? He said, I got to take care of you all and my kids. I got to make sure you are cared for. So he went back. He said, I'm going to endure what I have to endure. He worked there for 37 years. And a side note, funny thing, he moved up the ladder. His portrait is one of like 12 in the building now. Because that's how God turned that around. But I tell you that story because there's so many countless things my father did selflessly. As a pastor for 30-something years, he gave to the community, he gave to us. But all of that pales in comparison to what Jesus did for me personally. And that's the thing we have to really reflect on. That sacrifice that Jesus made for us is so far above and beyond what any other human could do for us. We have to remember that. And this brings me to my third and final point. So we know Jesus selflessly sacrificed himself for us. We know that we must strive to live a selfless life. How do we do that? Third point is we must ask for God's help to live that selfless life. Because as we know, this world does not encourage us to be selfless. Look at TV, social media. Self-idolization, selflessness. That's what's promoted there. And the word commands us in Philippians 2, 3, and 4. It says, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. The way to fight selfishness is to ask God to renew our minds and give us the mind of Christ. We have to have that, because on our own, we just don't have the ability to live a selfless life. And, it doesn't always have to, you don't have to start out saying, hey, I'm going to go sell my house and everything I own and give all my money away and all that. Start with the small things. I need help in a certain area, to be honest with you. Like, I'm actually praying for help when it comes to certain foods. I can be a little selfish. As an example, there's this yogurt that I love. It's called Greek yogurt. It's delicious. Got fruit on the bottom and all that. So when I go to the store, I buy 4 or 5 of them, and I have a special place in the refrigerator where I keep them. Matter of fact, it's on the top shelf. Kind of hide them. I put behind the tall items so nobody will see it. And I go in there every day. I go in, I get my yogurt, I put honey on it. So I do that every day. One day I came home, I was reaching for my yogurt. Instead of finding yogurt, wasn't gone, believe it or not, there was a note there. I put a note. So I read the note. It simply said, you can have it, and a smiley face. I'm not going to say who put it there. I think y'all kind of know. But, I thought to myself, you know what? That is an area I need to work on. I go and I buy 4 flavors. Now I need to buy a few others. Share. But it may seem like a silly, small example, but the spirit of selfishness can work its way into our lives in small ways and then develop in other areas in larger ways. So anyway, that's all. Just, remember those 3 things. Jesus selflessly gave himself for us. We have to strive to be selfless, and we need God's help to do it. And that's it.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.